Welcome back to Football Daily. It's lovely to have you on today's show. It's a good one, guys. Rory from CFC, the football club that everyone in London loves.
Yes, I'd like to think that were true.
Chelsea fans channel, he means. The same initials.
It still works, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes, perfect.
Did you deliberately do that?
No, I had nothing to do with the christening.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay, yeah. My dad said the same. And of course, Patrick, lovely to have you as well.
Nice to be here, as always.
FD's very own. We've got a lot to discuss today, so let's get straight down to it. Madrid first up,
You
guys.
still can't beat Madrid if you're in a Liga side.
If you're anyone.
Yes, that's right. 12 games unbeaten now.
Yeah. Champions League, looking all right. You were saying, and I think it's a good point, this is a very Benitez-esque side. It's like when he takes over any club.
I think bottom half down, by which I mean the goalkeeper and the defenders. So, for example, I think it's built on 9 in 12 clean sheets by Navas, the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, was in an airport departure lounge apparently on his way to Manchester as part of a swap deal with David De Gea. And apparently he was a bit emotional all over the place, but now he's obviously more than proved his worth to Benitez. Obviously thinks he's a bit of all right between the sticks. So, and also, I mean, Ronaldo's just scored number 12 of this season already.
Yeah, it's huge.
So even if they're not getting on perfectly, he's still, being professional and scoring the goals.
I still think all the leaks from the camp are a little bit unfair on Benitez. When someone says, I don't like playing under Benitez, you think, well, okay, fair enough. But it's not like it doesn't. It's not not everyone enjoys playing under every manager, so it's not unusual. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what happens is that Benitez demands an awful lot from each player that isn't just
Carlo
in their
didn't.
natural. No, but just in terms of, say for example, he would want from John Terry not only his defending and whatever, he'd be expecting him to cover a lot of the left side.
Yeah.
And I think players are encouraged to work more than they would naturally do, which the results speak for themselves. Benitez. Obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'm never going to speak too fondly of him. But you can't argue with his product.
He certainly did the job for Chelsea. No, everything was
absolutely. He did a very good job at Chelsea, and also I think they've got the meanest defence in the top 5 divisions across Europe or whatever.
Something like that. 3.
What's really interesting what you just said about John Terry, because the centre backs are obviously covering the left hand side for Real Madrid, because if you've seen Marcelo
got the goal on the weekend, of course.
But you see, he has so much joy up that left hand side, and I think he scored at the weekend. And he was probably one of the only interesting things to watch against Paris Saint-Germain in the week. You just see where there was a bit of wriggle room for a bit of eye-catching football. So they're obviously, like you say, it is starting to look like a Benitez team from the bottom up.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because I think a lot of people almost think that he'll come in and it'll straight away be this free-flowing football, which it probably never will be under Benitez. But I certainly think he's building a good basis to build from, and they're top of the league at this point, ahead of Barcelona.
They're not on the same points.
Yes, but goal difference.
And that's really interesting that they've still got a higher goal difference, because I think
that doesn't actually matter. To be fair, it's actually head-to-heads at the end of the season that will matter. So.
Oh, of course, yeah. So, but the thing is with Barcelona, they are much more leaky ship, which is why I think Benitez has got the edge over Barca at the moment, because they're winning games through sheer firepower, and it is quite amazing how Luis Suarez and Neymar in recent weeks are picking up the kind of basically the hole where Messi is just scoring just one more each a game. But they are going behind first, and at home as well against Eibar. At the weekend again they went 1-0 down, and they threw salvo, turn it round. But it looks like a lot more steadier ship at Real Madrid.
If you look at that team, it doesn't have all the Galacticos in.
No.
But I do wonder if Benitez...
They're a bit better for it in some ways, I think.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is his MO this season... Look, get us back towards what we were trying to do. Because you'd argue at every other club, he's tried to say, well, this is what we did at Real Madrid. We had the B team and we brought players through.
Yeah.
Basically, he goes to every country and go, we're doing it right in Spain. Do you want to do it that way here? And they go, no, we don't want to do it that way here. And now he's almost home, if you like. You wonder if he's going to, all the things he's dreamt of for years are kind of going to be coming together. You hope that would be the way it would be for him.
Interesting.
Even if you dislike hierarchy at Real Madrid.
And also, the thing is, it's sort of that is... possibly not in concert with the idea that most people's perception is Benitez is going in there for a year to try and win a trophy. But maybe
for Chelsea fans, I don't know if it.
I'll give it a year, mate.
Yeah. I mean, if you say in Spain, especially if you're a Valencia fan or if you're a Liverpool fan, then you see him as a very different kind of coach.
But then you see the circumstances of which Ancelotti had to work with and what was defined as success and failure. And you think how much time is Benitez going to get?
Well, insiders and outsiders. Are you Madridista or not? Are you?
The weekends, not so much anymore.
Yeah, only on weekends, you're right. Not when you're not wearing the shoes. Tim Sherwood is gone, guys.
Yeah.
The guy who guided them to the FA Cup final last season came in just in February. And
have you seen that film Network with that guy? It's a 1970s Oscar-winning
Social
film, and it's
Network.
about a guy who's basically he has a breakdown on television. Do you know what I mean? And then the producers keep him on because their ratings go up. But it was a bit like that. Watching some of his BBC interviews towards the end of it, he was kind of getting slightly unhinged.
Do you think?
I'm starting to wonder for it, but it's I think he was a very old school manager. I think Aston Villa should have hired
like
him.
96, 97, I'd say.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's interesting. I can get back to that, but it's. I think Aston Villa basically should have hired him for the end of last season to come in, do the Sweeney thing, get them up. Wow, got them to a cup final.
Yeah.
And then
The
say
Sweeney thing, by the way, is kind of,
I've
that's
got
a TV
to get
show.
on top of these old references. Network, Sweeney. So
It was a bit like Bungle in Rainbow,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I'm only 22, so my mum must have told me about it. But I don't think he was a great long-term proposition. He wasn't going to go in there, and I don't think he wasn't the 5-year plan kind of guy.
If we can separate that off for a second, because it's almost as if Sherwood and Villa are two separate things here. Sherwood needs to make a good decision now in his career, doesn't he? Not to go to a club where he looks like a short-term prospect. He needs to find somewhere that he can get his vision enacted, essentially.
I think he should have a holiday.
Potentially.
But where?
I don't think that he can do. I mean, I think that would be great for his career. I think that's what his career needs, is to go and have some longevity and to establish some sort of a legacy at a club. But I don't think he can do that. I don't think he's that man. I think he's a very good manager for geeing up a team, keeping them safe, guiding them to a final. He did well there. But
it's that force of personality thing, isn't it? And it's sort of almost Stuart Pearce, the critics of his management style.
Yes.
When he comes
another old reference.
Another old.
Yes.
Comes some of Stuart Pearce from Match of the Day or something.
Yeah. He's still in the football industry.
I'm in the wrong industry. But I think the thing is that there's criticism of Stuart Pearce's management style. He'll come in and he have this huge personality coming because he's psycho. He's from England too. Yeah, and then they'll have a spike when he goes in, and then when the long-term plan sort of is needed to be seen, it's kind of like it sort of plateaus, then tapers off rather rapidly.
I imagine what will happen with Sherwood is somebody will be in a desperate position in a couple of months' time, Chelsea, and his name will be mentioned.
Yeah,
I think that's the guy. I think he is slowly becoming that guy, the Kirby.
But I think kind of worry him because originally I didn't really like him very much as a manager. I didn't.
It was appalling. That salute I found incredibly.
He's a classic club captain playing in exactly the right position to be the fulcrum of everything.
Yeah.
He's won the Premier League, a very different kind of Premier League, but he still won it.
But he won it under Dalglish, was very old school.
But what you would argue is that he's probably learned a lot from Dalglish as well.
I think Dalglish, when he came back to Liverpool, perhaps showed that he wasn't so much in touch with how the game's moved on. And basically, Dalglish is probably his main mentor, who was very, very old school in how he did things and how he trained the team. And so maybe Sherwood is perhaps a bit of a throwback in his management style.
Put it this way, I think he's a mixture of the two, but I think what Dalglish did at Liverpool, just very quickly, what he did at Liverpool was steady the ship in a time when it was a very bad, very, very bad, despite the whole Luis Suarez thing that he decided to stupidly back him on. I would say with Sherwood, are we seeing, like you say, he's just an ill-equipped manager, but he needs almost more cultured people around him to kind of go, I think what Tim's saying is run up the left wing. Bayern Munich, make it a perfect 10.
Yes, they've kind of broken a lot of 10-related, or they've made a lot of 10-related headlines and records. They've just won 10 in a row.
As they say in Germany.
Pardon?
Seen.
Whatever. They've just won 10 league games. They're 10 points clear of the Bundesliga without much opposition. I saw the game against Cologne. It didn't look like it was a training match. It looked like it was a very classy exhibition match. Because some of the goals were very well taken, but a lot of the key moves were already in Cologne's penalty area. Vidal's goal was very, very nice. I'm a bit bored of this, to be honest. I think with Bayern Munich, I think it's they've got a fantastic player, and it's their 1000th home victory in the Bundesliga.
Another 10.
I think there's a few 10s in there.
Multiplication of 10.
Yeah.
That's 10 tens. 10
I just think it's a bit. academic when you see they can be tactically and physically put to the sword like they were in Arsenal in the Champions League. So maybe all these kind of like high-flying Bundesliga statistics feel a little bit flat for me. In a way.
Well, you know when they've had such like they're looking so good in their domestic league and they're finding it so easy.
Yeah.
Would retaining their domestic trophy be considered enough success? Do they need a Champions League to actually have a good season? Or is Guardiola...
Possibly so.
Yeah.
There's a weird parallel with the England team here, like because the England national team, who basically have a very easy qualification. Oh, I got to read this.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's quite a broad one. I mean, the thing is, in the qualifying,
they play in white, we play in white sometimes.
But it's like in their group, England play a lot of easy teams. Do you know what I mean? But then when they go away to a tournament, a knockout situation, they're ill prepared for it. Bayern Munich, week in, week out, put teams in front of them.
That's a really good parallel.
They can easily be, when it goes to Champions League, and they've got a knockout situation, they can get tactically out for a different type of football.
Yeah, but put it this way, Bayern, it's not like they were completely outplayed by Arsenal. You know, Arsenal, if you play your tactics right and Arsenal's tactics paid off, on the night, it's not like they didn't create chances. It's not like they were completely outplayed to the point where they lost the game so academically.
It was such a different type of game than it was to the Cologne game, I think.
Definitely.
They were really put to this. And it shows post-Klopp as well at Dortmund. He had a sort of a tactical philosophy and strategy to take on this hegemon.
But they did, and they did do that.
And they did. But I know. And it's like, so the thing is, it's good to see Arsenal, someone like Arsene Wenger has a plan, has something up his sleeve to play this team, because it looked like a very classy exhibition match against Cologne.
Agreed. West Ham and their what did they do against Chelsea?
They won, didn't they?
Yes, they won.
Convincingly, according to one of you, but maybe not.
I didn't think. Patrick and I had a chat about this. I thought that they did well. I think Chelsea also played well. If you take the result out of the context that Chelsea are currently in, Chelsea were unlucky.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a good goal disallowed, a moment of madness that cost us a man on the pitch. It was a shame, but I thought we played very well with 10 men. But I think the plaudits that West Ham have got are perhaps slightly overgenerous.
Yeah, I actually agree. The problem is with Chelsea and Mourinho and this kind of slightly, again, network-esque kind of public meltdown. It's the boy who cried wolf, isn't it? I mean, I actually think Chelsea were very unlucky at the weekend.
Yeah.
Played very well with 10 men. I think West Ham actually, despite the plaudits in the British press and things like that, I think they were quite flat and quite uninspiring. I thought
moments of
technical skill.
Payet played very well, and Kyoto played.
Actually, generally quite flat when they had one man extra. And I think for a team that sort of obviously got Bilic in and culturally didn't want Allardyce in from the start, for a team that self-styles as playing on the ground, if in doubt, get on Carroll, lob it to the big man, and superb header, but it wasn't the West Ham way.
I completely, that is what happened, but I think that equally you play the card you're dealt, don't you? So if Chelsea, who are on their day masterful at knocking the ball around, you know, if they come to town and you have a man extra, and you have Carroll on the pitch, you are going to play that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't knock them for doing that.
No, but I'm saying they look quite flat, passing football as well.
Yeah,
but I do think Chelsea. I mean, they were unlucky, but it's again they made their own bad luck in the sense that the indiscipline meant the 10 men of Chelsea were unlucky rather than the club. I mean, what message does it send when you have two people in the dugout who get sent off? The players actually come on and allegedly wanted to, let's win it for Jose. But
why did they get sent off though? Because they tried to break into the referee's dressing room at half time.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah, because they wanted his keys. No, they wanted to have a chat with him, and they were saying
we want to have a little chat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is bizarre that Mourinho got sent off for that because he pretty much got another referee sacked in their career because they had a chat with the manager at half-time.
That Barcelona game. The thing is with Chelsea, I mean, it's like, I think the board are, again, they kind of make their own beds, to be honest, but the board, I think they're getting tired of the anti. I mean, there was some, from a neutral point of view, there was some incredible sort of like photogenic moments of like the West Ham box and Danny Dyer and Tamer Hassan and Rory that spot like Where's Wally kind of like miserable, really miserable football-based Where's Wally. And it's just like, but the club is a laughing stock. You could say the club has been pretty much a laughing stock for a lot of time in the last 10 years. It constantly has this bad atmosphere, this bad headlines. As I said before, it doesn't have to be that way. But it's almost like Mourinho is trying to get fired.
There is an element of that. I think the laughing stock suggestion is very harsh. Yeah, I think we're the only team from London with a European Cup, and we're currently champions. We won the Carling Cup. We won 2 out of the 3 domestic trophies last year. There's not much to laugh at.
Yeah, no, you're right. But you have to say the Chelsea, its reputation is constantly getting a battering in the newspaper. It doesn't have to be like that.
And it's that fact, I think.
Chelsea fans can quite rightly hold their hands up and say, well, look at all the silverware, take the tour. But it must be wearing.
Let's go to Manchester. Not literally, though. That would be lovely. Let's talk about the derby. United City. United outplayed there.
It was just. I just think they were just all nullified. I don't think anyone particularly was given enough space to have a good game. I thought it might be settled by a moment of genius, but it just never came.
It's the most expensive derby in the world.
It really is. Yeah. I didn't think United played badly.
Surely that's the Clasico.
Apparently not.
Really? Are these more? I'm saying that's ridiculous. These are more expensive teams than Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
That's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Manchester as a city. I used to live there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if anyone's going to get that kind of cash, I'm glad it's Manchester.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Do you? This is an interesting question. Do you think? And that's why I'm asking it. Do you think the North is somewhat annexed within the Premier League? It's a question which is coming up more and more and more. And I imagine there are people who are watching around the world who don't necessarily know about the North-South divide.
Yes.
But when you look at the Newcastle-Sunderland game over the weekend, you look at Liverpool, you look at Everton.
Definitely not the North-West. I don't think the North-West.
How do you mean it's annexed? Do you mean it's kind of?
I'm just interested in the idea, and it's been made a couple of times by a couple of different journalists now, that if you're not in if you're not in London or Manchester, which are technically the 2 financial and business centres of Britain right now, then you have a slightly different rule applied to you and slightly different analysis.
I think so.
I would say London and the Northwest. I would include Liverpool in the area of sort of brilliance for being a very fertile football.
Yeah, I'd say historically yes, but I think
Liverpool and Manchester and London.
The thing is, I think the Manchester City, for its critics, its harshest critics will say they're just laundering the reputation of Mancunian institutions, because they're investing their money in a broad series of projects. Things like, for example, they've rebuilt the Eastlands area and stuff like that. Training thing. They're rebuilding the university campus at University of Manchester. They're doing all these kind of really positive public-facing things. That's an awful lot of money staying within Manchester. Like I say, and the Liverpool clubs, with regard to Everton as well, there's nowhere near that infrastructure going into that area as well. So you're right. I would agree to that sort of point. I do actually think, though, that hasn't made the Premiership less competitive, because if you look compared to other leagues,
who's won the title over the last few years?
Well, Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea. I think Arsenal could win it.
Where do they sit?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that's still more teams than I think it's still a more competitive league than France is at the moment.
Definitely.
I think Germany is, and Spain.
Yeah, but you're comparing things which are, again, they're almost,
I was just saying, do you think they've annexed it?
Monopolising leagues, those. And that what I would say is there's with markets and money comes a thickening of people who win, but it doesn't make it a level playing field.
I think for the clubs that live within these cities, I think that the clubs that are housed within those cities can sign the best players in the world. So if you're in the market for fantastic, if a player can choose where to go, I think he's going to choose London or the Northwest, and I'd include Liverpool in that.
Yeah, I just say, I mean, the thing is though, Chelsea most recently and Manchester City have shown that you can't actually stockpile those sort of players and not have and be sort of howling errors. And it says they tried to stockpile Cech and Mata. Do you see what I mean? You can't hoard all the best talent like Cech, Mata, De Bruyne. Okay, Mata and De Bruyne went to Manchester. But Cech didn't. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is,
you can have a lot of money.
There is a limit to that monopoly of talent.
Well, it's been lovely to have you on the show, Rory. If people want to head over to your channel, where can they go?
Just subscribe to the Chelsea Fans channel. Thank you.
It is a good channel as well.
Oh, that's very kind.
A good fan cam after the weekend, don't you?
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, no, well, it's true. And of course, people want to hit the subscribe button on Football Daily. What are they going to see there?
Well, they're going to see plenty more of this sort of thing. Some really sort of fun top tens and all that sort of stuff. And
Gianluca Vialli.
And we've got an exclusive Gianluca Vialli later in the week.
What a man.
Still looks like he's the same age.
Yeah, he was lovely.
Yeah.
Really, really nice bloke.
Great guy.
Yeah, really lovely.
So don't forget, tune into that later in the week. Hit the subscribe button and it will automatically appear in your feed. We'll see you again real soon on Football Daily.